Well, Sean, obviously you've had a chance to reflect on that message that went across at the Etihad on the plane. I just wonder now, what more can football do? What more can Burnley Football Club do as a whole to educate those who kind of sympathise with the feelings behind that banner, to educate them better and just, I suppose, get across the message that those kind of sentiments are wrong?
Well, I think the world's in a place of education on many different fronts at the moment. So that's for starters, I think it's for everyone. And I mentioned afterwards, it's a harsh moment on a town of people and a club for so few to organise something like that. And Ben Mee spoke fantastically well, I thought. And we know it's completely unacceptable. So, I think as a club, all they can do is attempt to put out the right messages. You definitely know actually the amount of work that's done in the community here, and certainly over the last 5 years, what's been achieved in the community is nothing short of fantastic, really. The links in the community, how many different people we've managed to affect from the club reaching out, and all the good work that's done. So, we don't wish for that to be undermined by such a few making, a statement that is unacceptable to all. So, I think that's the thing from a club point of view. And like I say, it is, it's a moment in time we didn't wish for, we don't want, and no one wanted, and no one wants generally.
Do you feel then the spotlight is on the club somewhat, and therefore what can you and the players do to turn that around?
Well, I hope it's not on the club. I mean, it's a small amount of people involved, I gather. I mean, I'm getting more information all the time. I haven't got all the facts. And like I say, I don't think I don't think it should actually try and somehow give a view of a town or the club. But what we can do is continue the good work we do through the community, continue the work we do through education. We know, like I say, we've got a captain. I must make it clear, but I think this is important. It was my decision to let the captain speak. There was a number of players felt very passionately about that moment. So I must be, I want to make that fair to my players, because a number of them said about it, and most of them actually, who have like Twitter accounts, if I said, look, for now, Ben will do the talking and I'll do the talking. So to make that clear, there's a lot of our players were all disgruntled and upset by that, and wanted to somehow let people know that. So it was my decision to let Ben speak. I thought he did a very good job, by the way, very authentic as the man that he is. And I played my part with it as well on behalf of the club, and I know the CEO's been out and the chairman as well. So, I think we're united as a club. We can't speak for everyone in the town, but I'd like to think this needs to be looked upon as a small case of individuals rather than a whole town and a whole club.
Can you tell us a bit about what was said in the dressing room then after the game, Sean? Because I'm sure then that Ben obviously came straight from the pitch into the dressing room, and you had a discussion amongst yourself, the captain, and the entire team.
Yeah, well, it hit pretty quickly because I'd heard the noise, obviously, but I wasn't aware. I was trying to focus on the game, which you have to at Man City, that's for sure, and that was difficult on the night. But when we came in, I spoke briefly, and the lads had mentioned it, and then straight on their phones and what had gone on, and then I became more aware of what it was. And no, they were really upset about it because they, first of all, the message, they don't agree with it quite obviously, and secondly, their own thoughts on the team and the club, and what we stand for, because these lads en masse do a lot here, for the club, and I think all the work they've done, gets undermined. Not all of it, but some of it gets undermined in one moment in time that is nothing to do with them. But equally, the message as well. I think they're like, it's nothing to do with us. We absolutely don't accept that. So it was more a case along them lines, and then how we wanted to go and they wanted to go about getting that message out. So I said, well, for now, let's let Ben as captain do the immediate focus. He went before me as well, by the way. They were that strong about it. And I said, absolutely. I said, if you want to get out there now, Ben, and send that message, do so. Because obviously I do a lot more media, as you know, in due course. So no, I think that's important to clear up. It was all of our players who were trying to or want to be involved in that message going out there, but we decided to keep it through Ben and myself, obviously.
Just one final question on this, Sean, as well, because acts of racism is something that we've spoken about on numerous occasions as well. Is there an element of frustration from your part as well, that at times this message doesn't seem to be hitting home in certain quarters?
I don't think there's a want for trying. I think, certainly it continually gets stronger every year in my lifetime in football, and we're all getting more and more educated across the board, our children as well, in the rights and wrongs of life. And I think it enhances it, and there has to be some form of a silver lining to the cloud, and that is probably another step in enhancing it even further. The reaction to that moment has been so overpowering and positive towards the balance of life, if you like, and now the things that need to be addressed. Then, if there is a silver line to that cloud of that moment, it is that it has reinforced further the respect and the all the messages that have been going out for a long time about making sure that it doesn't exist. And I think it's just another step in that. But I must say, I think it's been going on. Football's been pushing hard for a long time now about these messages, and will continue to do so, and should continue to do so, quite obviously.
On the football side of things, Sean, Phil Bardsley signed a new one-year deal. Is that correct? And how much of a relief is that's sorted now?
Well, it's another body for us. We're stretched to the limit at the moment. There were some suggestions of trying to prove points of the night. Wasn't. That was my full hit. I've always believed that when teams don't use the bench in certain circumstances, I'm not judging, that's their choice. I've always believed in using younger players, just give them an experience. Whether they're at the level they need to be to perform or go on the pitch is a different matter, but to give them the experience. We had everything we've got out there the other night. We're still missing Barnes, we're still missing Wood, we're still missing Goodmanson. On the night we're missing Robbie Brady as well. That was every player we've got left. Mace Goodridge is the other one who's just got fit now and could well be involved tomorrow night. So, it wasn't a show of anything other than the truth.
Jeff Hendrick, though, is that it for him now?
Yeah, I think so. I think Joe, Aaron, and Jeff and Adam Legsins, I think that's them done. It's, a reality of sometimes life at Burnley. It is difficult. I did actually sort of chuckle in the right way the other night. Someone said, it's the first time that Sean Dyche has ever questioned the board. I've been here 7.5 years, so I think most boards would be quite happy to only be questioned once in 7.5 years, to be honest. So I was actually quite proud of that. I thought fair play to myself for only questioning the board once in 7.5 years. So I thought that was certainly a positive negative in my mind. So
not too much of a problem then for you?
No, I think that, I am, there's certain ways that we work here that are difficult. I've never made any other than that's the truth of it. It's usually revolving around finance. The adjustment to that and my thinking is, I know the financial standing in the club and I know how strong it is. So therefore it's tough sometimes, when you want certain things doing. I don't make the decisions. The chairman makes the final decision. I can't sign contracts. I can only advise. I think I advised well, and I have done for the last 18 months building up to this moment in time. Nothing to do with COVID. It's just a reality of being at Burnley Football Club. So now and again, it is a moment in time, and I say, well, I can't sign them players. I can't physically sign them players. It's quite obvious we're stretched to the limit, that's for sure. So now and again, and as I said, once in 7.5 years for me to question the board and the chairman, I'm pretty proud of that. I look around football and I think there's a few more questions get made than once in 7.5 years. So I'm pretty balanced in my view, and the reality of what we needed, the reality of what we still need going forwards. And I try and share that as honestly and authentically as I can.
Just to check on that injury list then as well, Barnes, Brady, Goodmanson and Wood, any chance of any of them back for tomorrow night?
No, not at the moment. We're just getting, Woody's doing ever so well, it must be said. He's working very hard with the physios, but he's not even training with us yet. Johan's had 1 day's training, which was today with the team, so he's not ready. Barnes is not close at the moment. And Robbie Brady is not now, but it's a shorter version. So, could be maybe next week. We don't know yet. It's just it is a peculiar situation when you're in lockdown and you're 10th in the table and then beaten in 7th to come back into it, and you've somehow got considerably weaker in your squad. So trust me, that's a new one on me. I've had some experiences here and some interesting times in football, but that's a new one on me.
Still a chance though to get over that 40-point mark, and what are you thinking is still achievable now? Well,
that's another thing, isn't it? Part of my, that has to be part of my frustration, because coming out of lockdown, you're sitting 10th and you're beating a 7, you're thinking, right, let's see where we can take it. And then you come back in and the goalposts have shifted considerably. So, and then you're asking me questions about 40 points when you possibly could have been asking me questions about 50 odd points. Who knows? So I think that's probably shifted people's view. And our intention is to play hard till the end of the season. I must say that the players have been terrific. There's been a lot of questions over it, and I've cleared it up with them. They've assured me of their application, which was on show against Man City. We ran the highest amount of yardage in the Premier League for the first round by, I think, 5k. So there's certainly no lack of effort or endeavour. Man City, we know, can punish you for mistakes. There was mistakes, and some very good play by them as well, by the way. They're a top side, we know that. And they hurt us on the night, which they have done before, and they have done to many others. Beyond that, we look to deliver performances, stay together as a group, which we're certainly, I would think people would recognise us for, and work to get as many points on the table as we can.
When I asked you about 50 points, you said 40 points.
Well, 50, 40, 60, I lost myself. Normally I have some kind of view of where it's going, but like I say, you come out of lockdown and somehow you've got less players than what you started with, considerably less, then it is a bit interesting, let's say.
What are you expecting from Watford as well? I mean, obviously, former club and Nigel Pearson done such a decent job in getting them out of that bottom three.
Well, there was a bit of noise in the lockdown of, whether they thought they should be carrying on or not with football. They certainly looked like they were to me against Leicester. They gave a solid performance. They worked very hard for the result they got. I know some of the players there and got great respect for them. The obvious one, Troy Deeney and people like that, Maps and guys. I'm pretty old now, but I'll share with you, Maps made his reserve debut, I think, next to me at Watford at the end of my time there. And I ended up coaching him and managing him. But no, these are good guys, good people, So it'd be good to see them, but obviously I hope I'm not seeing them on such a positive night for them. But no, I thought they gave a good performance, and they certainly looked like they were working hard to get a good result against Leicester. So no doubt they'll try and do that against us, quite obviously.
I mean, even going back before lockdown, they lose at Man United, then beat Liverpool, lost at Palace, but then obviously they've subsequently drawn with Leicester now as well. So it's kind of up and down still with them, isn't it?
Well, I think other than the superpower teams, it often is. There's not many. I mean, even Leicester had an unbelievably strong start to the season, have been up and down more recently, and they're a very good side. So I think there's only really a handful of clubs who are almost, running hard and performing and winning a lot. I think there's likely to be some ups and downs in a division for everyone else. We've had our own this season, and probably every season we've been in the Premier League. We've got to make sure that we're on our mettle, if you like, to go and deliver in the coming games. And obviously we've got a squad that are committed, and it'll be helpful if the players who are injured can get back fit and support the squad.
Cheers, Sean. I'll
Thank
mute
you.
myself.